Alright, it's been 48 hours since the well was drilled. It's windy, so I'm gonna put my coat around it for a second and record if it's still putting out sound. Okay, I don't know if you heard that. It was racing earlier. Now it's not so loud. It's still moist and it smells like drilling fluid. They didn't flush the well when they did it. They just drilled and then pulled the head or the drill bits out and then put the casing in. So over here, this is the moonscape. You can see all the different layers. There's a lot of different colors out here. The last layer was blue clay. You can see that white layer. They said that there's the layer that you can kind of see it out there. That's the layer or the kind of rock. You can see it shot way out there. That was the rock that has the typical. It's the typical rock that the water out here flows in. And then blue clay, actually like at the bottom. I put a water bottle down it on a string with a little bit of a weight. And it came up muddy. This is the pile of different samples they took as they were going through it. They hit this one clay. Now on day one, they drilled down to what they said was 210 feet. And at that depth, they hit this clay. As you can see, it's got rock in it, different color stuff in it, but it was really hard and thick. They let it sit over the weekend, so they did that there on a Friday. They drilled it 210 feet, and then they let it sit over the weekend. They come back Monday. They put the drill bit back down in the hole, and they spun it with just air, blowing anything out of it. And all that came out of it was just dry stuff like this. It was really dry. There was no moisture at all in it whatsoever. So obviously at 210 feet, it was totally dry. There was no water. You can see a bunch of different colors of the stuff that came out. This is where the rig was parked. So the first 19 feet down, the soil looked just like the topsoil. It was the same color. When they hit the 20-foot mark, it spurted up sand, light colored sandstone. And then they drove through that, different layers, until they hit the 200-foot mark. Then they hit the clay for about 10 feet. Then they let it sit over the weekend. You can see this is what was in the thing when they pulled it out. There was a skirt that was around the well casing, and it had a hose hooked up to it, so they were able just to blow the drilling stuff out. But this was at in it when they pulled it out. All this different color clay. That red is the color of the clay That's at the bottom of the well right now, or the mud, not the clay, the mud. So it sounded like it sounded like air was rushing out. Now they didn't flush the well like I thought they would, and it's probably because they thought it was going to be a dry seasonal well. It's actually what he said. He thought it was going to be a seasonal well. We drilled down to 350 feet. So looking out here, you can see there's this big tall tower. That's 3 lots down from me. 2 lots from that, across the street, is where they have another well. Their well's at 295 feet. They hit water at 205. The elevation change between there and here is about 15 feet. Maybe 20 at the most. So they were expecting to hit water right around 210, 225, and they didn't hit it. Now, when the well across the street was drilled, they drilled it all the way down to the deep aquifer. They went down 700 feet. They hit the aquifer at 500. But the well operators told me they hit groundwater at 125 feet. Now the distance between this well and their well is 245 feet. Elevation change, maybe 2 feet, maybe 5 feet lower. And we didn't hit water. Now this is the water bottle. I had cleaned it off and I actually soaked it in water. But I guess it hit the bottom so hard, it cracked. And so when I had it floated, trying to float it in a 5-gallon bucket of water, it just kept filling up. Oh, there's the crack right there. So it just kept filling up with water. So I used a new water bottle. I don't drink out of these kind of bottles. I went to the Dollar Tree and picked up a 6-pack for $1.25. And I just give the water to the chickens. So this is the second bottle I used today. I'm trying to find the depth. You can see there's a little bit of that mud on it. So the string here, I have it marked at 300 feet with a piece of tape, and then at 350 feet. And what I did was I used my tape measure that's sitting right there, and I measured with a straight line from the wellhead over there all the way here, and I pounded the concrete stake in the ground at 100 feet. And then I just ran a line from there to here, and then back and back again. And then from here I measured an additional 50 feet out, which was right around here somewhere. I actually had the tape measure laid out here when I did it, so I knew exactly where 350 feet was. So when I hit the 300 foot there, I put a piece of tape on it, and then I measured an additional 50 feet to here, so I knew exactly where the bottom of the well is supposed to be. When I dropped that water bottle over there that broke, it hit mud. It's kind of hard to tell. It was either 10 feet from the bottom or 15 feet. I marked both locations. It was kind of hard to tell if it was sitting where it was sitting at. I mean, we're talking holding something in straight up in the air, 350 feet. And, you know, the string has a little weight to it at that depth too. So I was trying to hold it. So I'm assuming we'll play it safe, and we'll say 15 feet of mud, but most likely it was about 9 feet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what the inside of the casing looks like. Okay, so obviously this is a steel casing right here. It goes down exactly 20 feet. So So this is with the lid taken off. It's kind of hard to see down there. I don't want to drop the phone. Yesterday there was lots of moisture on the side of the inside of this pipe here, but today there's looks like water beads down there. Okay, so I went and got a couple flashlights. Put it on my wrist so I don't lose it down the hole. Hang on. Okay. Let's see if we can do this here. So I was looking down the well. As far as that would go, it does smell like the drilling fluid. Now I got another light here, which is a laser. I'm going to shine it down and see what we can see. So you can see going all the way down. I guess that's like as close as I can get. I don't know if it's hitting the bottom or what. But this laser will light up that whole mountainside. I mean, I can shine on the mountain. It's so long. I believe it's like a... I think it's supposed to be 20-mile long. Bright laser. Supposed to be able to be seen 20 miles. As you can see, I don't know. Let me see if I can find a little pebble. Okay, you can see this little tiny pebble. So we'll listen. Doesn't sound like a splash to me. Sounded like a thud. So it's probably in the mud. So I'm going to lower that bottle down again, and let's see what we have this time. So here we are. Let's see. It's kind of hard to do this here with one hand. You can see I'm letting it hit my knuckle. I just don't want it to go so fast. It breaks the bottle down there again. Oh, it's burning. As you can see, there's some marks we're coming up to. Still going down. So that's 300-foot mark. $300-foot mark. It doesn't want to go down anymore. Huh. 300-foot mark. It stopped. Oh, maybe there's 50 feet of water in there. That's where it stopped at, 50 foot from the bottom. As you can see on here, there's still a mark on here, a piece of tape. That there's the 250-foot mark. So, yeah, I guess there's 50 feet of water in there. Supposedly. So, yeah. I guess something's better than nothing. Yeah. It definitely stopped at the 50-foot mark. Okay. Well, I gotta roll it up. It's gonna take 2 hands. So let me pull it up.